to the brewery. As he's crossing the street out of my right-hand side, second-story balcony, 5 gunshots rain down from above. One of those being a 10-gauge shotgun shell that hits Virgil right in his left-hand shoulder. Now, thanks to our town doctor, dogged fellow, Virgil does not die, but he does lose the use of his left arm and about 4 inches of shattered bone. And that was all before he moved on to Nevada to live out the rest of his days, becoming known as the one-armed law dog, dying at the age of 62 in 1905 from pneumonia. Now over on the right here, the world-famous birdcage shooter, opening December 21st of 1881, a week prior to the attempted assassination on Virgil. And in there in the basement they housed the world's longest poker game that went on for 8 years, 5 months, and 3 days non-stop. Didn't even bother to close their front doors that entire time. The game had a 4-man minimum and a $1,000 buy, and an estimated $10 million had switched hands across that table. But it is still on display in the basement for you all to go see. Also on display in there is the Black Mariah. That is the horse-drawn hearse that carried over 100 people to their final resting place in Boot Hill. In service from 1881 up until 1917, there was only one of 8 ever made out of Syracuse, New York, and it's the only one left of its kind. And it's valued at over $2.5 million. But a year before the gunfight of the OK Corral, which we'll get to in just a short while, the birdcage shooter does not exist. What does exist is our Marshal, Red White. And one night, as he is making his rounds through Tombstone, he spots 5 drunk, unruly cowboys in the streets causing some problems. So he demanded they hand over their weapons, and a curly bill Baroches does. In the process of doing so, his weapon discharges, fatally shooting Fred White right in the groin. Now, Fred does not die right there like he does in the movie. It actually takes him about 3 days. And on his deathbed, he exonerates Curly Bill of those charges, claiming it was only an accident. And 2 weeks after that is when Virgil first became our town marshal. The rest is Western history. But now on the right here, that mercantile store, that was the Arcadia Saloon. And it was June 22nd of 1881. 2 bartenders are in there arguing over a sour barrel of whiskey. One of them dropped a cigar in the barrel and it burst into flames. 66 buildings burned to the ground. That's our first major fire.
Strong stuff.
And 1 block down on our left here, the archway of the Tombstone Consolidated Mines Company. That is where all these silver mines are. We had over 25 active mines down there. Over 3,000 mining claims, and the Tombstone still sits about 300 miles worth of mines. Some of those do run about 1,000 foot deep, and the water table here is only at 500. They had to bring in 2 giant Cornish pumps to pump out about 52 million gallons a day. However, the first pump burned down in 1806, second one failed in 1909, causing the water level to rise, flooding out the lower half of the mines. And on the right here, that orange and red building, the Red Buffalo, that was Campbell and Hatch Billiards and Saloon back then. Now, it was March 18th of 1882, a day before Wyatt Earp's birthday. Him and his brother Morgan are leaving a play at Shuffle Hall. You look out the right over the fence, you can see that poking up a block away. And they decided to go down to Campbell and Hatch's to play some late-night billiards. And around 10 p.m. that night, an outlaw shot through the back door, hitting Morgan in the spine. And he died less than an hour later. And now on the right here, Arlene Southwest Trading, originally Hafford's Saloon. This was Hafford's Corner. This is where the Earps and Holiday meet up before their gun battle. But they don't go down Elm Street to the corral like we are. They actually made it right here when 1 block up to Fremont made a left up there. That's where they went down the road most of the way to that gun battle. And I'll get to more of that in a moment, but first on the right here, the old top photos in the Silver Stripe Winery. All that was the Can restaurant back then. Owned and operated by Tombstone's most popular and most famous Chinese man, a man named Quan Ki. And he was rumored to have the best Chinese food this side of the Mississippi. And when he died, there was over 3,000 people at his funeral. You'll find him buried up in Boot Hill. Now on the right here, the world-famous OK Corral, the #1 attraction here in Tombstone. The main reason that everyone around the world knows that we are here. That is not where the gunfight happened. Now, if you will look out to the right past the city park on the other side of that brick wall, there's a 14-foot wide alleyway. That is where it all happened on October 26th of 1881 at 2:30 in the afternoon. 30 shots under 30 seconds left Tom and Frank McClary, 19-year-old kid named Billy Clanton, all murdered in the streets of Tombstone. Morgan and Virgil there both shot and wounded and not caught a ricochet of the gun belt. Wyatt was the only man to walk away from that gun battle unscathed. But now over on the left here, the Four Deuces Saloon. That was the home of Addie Bourne. That house used to sit across the street from the famous gun battle on Fremont. That is what everyone used to call it until Hollywood started calling it the gunfight of the OK Corral almost 50 years later. And Miss Addie Bourne, she was the only witness to that gun battle. Now on the left here, that red building, that was the home of China Mary. She was a member of the ancient Tong Syndicate when she moved here from China all the way back when. And the next 2 blocks that we're going to go through, and 1 block in each direction, used to be Tombstone Top Town. But today we just call this one Chinatown. And if you were one of those 300 registered Chinese that lived here, and you wanted to get a job, you had to go see Miss China Mary first. Pay her to get your job and pay her every week that you wanted to keep it. They considered her the godfather of the Chinese, and she died the wealthiest woman of Tombstone. And along with Mr. Key, you'll find her buried in Boot Hill. But now if you look out the right to the face of that mountain to what looks like the Sheep's Head facing west, 16 miles out, that is the Dragoon Mountain Range. That little section is called Sheep's Head Monument, but is also referred to as the Cochise Stronghold. And Cochise was the leader of the Chiricahua Band of Apaches, and him and 27 of his best and bravest warriors sat up in those hills for 13 long years. From 1861 up until 1874, defending that section of land against the entire United States 3rd Cavalry from Fort Huachuca. Now in all that time, Cochise never lost a single man. They put over 100 soldiers into the ground.